Man Ghana, Man 99. Welcome back to the 50-50 football podcast. Man 99, Man Ghana. I'm not sure what you guys make of this. Dak Prescott, American NFL star, quarterback for America's team, or perhaps America's most hated team, the Dallas Cowboys. It turns out he called off his wedding with Sarah Jane Ramos, his longtime girlfriend or fiance, let me put it that way. Now they are exes, so they call themselves friends. But turns out right before the wedding, there was a contention about prenup. So Dak says, you know what, I love you, I want to be with you, but I need you to sign a prenup before we get married. And I'm not sure if it's the terms of the prenup, but the girl or the lady refused, and now they've called off their wedding. And they sent an email, and I can read the email out to you. They said, as many of you know, our wedding is currently scheduled to take place in Lake Como, Italy. So it was supposed to be on Friday, 10th April 2026, just a week ago. It is with heavy hearts that we privately inform our attendees that we have made a very difficult decision to cancel our wedding. We deeply apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, and we welcome your prayers, Sarah Jane Ramos and Dak Prescott. So now, I guess the main question here is that, what do you guys think about prenuptials? Prenup, especially with regards to sportsmen, athletes. Think about
it's
football
a difficult
stars.
thing.
A lot of people have lost a lot of their properties,
this is someone
their
he
money,
has 2 kids with
everything
already.
that they work so hard for, to marriages that sometimes don't even last a year.
So the person, so both of you are already invested. Just because you have kids, you're already invested. Now, if you've been with a person for that long, you have kids together, and now you are telling me to sign a prenup in an attempt to shield you from any financial loss. I think for me, once you have kids together, dear, you should have told her that before the kids. Maybe she wouldn't have been interested in getting married to you and would have gone for someone who won't have that. But once she has kids, she's no, because she's already started building with you. You have kids, like they've been in your lives for long. This is
right.
Yeah, no, but you have to understand. You have to understand someone that this is where they've been together for long. It's not like their kids are like good.
But how is that a deal breaker though? How is that a deal breaker?
No.
The fact that I have kids with you does not mean I have built with you.
That is not going. You can side with him, yes, but that is not going to work in the sense that the moment, if you had done this earlier, like let's say, once you have kids with a person, right? There's a duty of care you owe to, because when a woman has kids, it also affects her in a way.
Begin the marital journey or nothing. I side with him.
And for her too, it's not like, I mean, she's not as rich as Dak Prescott, but she's not like she's poor. It's more of like the principle of it, kind of.
I mean, they've been together for 3 years. So apparently they met in 2023, and they were scheduled to marry in 2026. But what does she lose? Yeah, but what does she lose?
The perception out there, the woman is like signing a prenup and everything.
What else? What else will let her, decide to miss out?
If you lose nothing, I mean, what sort of principles? Because you lose nothing. That's from your.
And if she doesn't, and if he also didn't bring up a prenup, what would they have changed?
It wouldn't have.
It wouldn't have come out. It was just between. Yeah.
And she's also exposed to risk. Is she not? She's already had your case. She's already exposed. She's already entered risk. No.
Again, still, what would it have changed? They love each other. They got married. They had a prenup in place.
With women, there are certain aspects that come together with, if they have kids and all of those things, they are not on the same level that they would be on if they were single or they were not married or they didn't have kids.
No, like
risk
again,
in what sense? Are the kids only your kids?
Yeah, pause. Yeah, risk in what sense?
They're also my kids too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, come on, this is not.
If I say what I want to say on my mind, I'll be extradited to you guys. Yeah, I don't want to.
No, that's sorry. I struggle to see what you're saying.
We don't even know what was in the prenup
together,
because there are people's prenups.
Sign a prenup. Let's
very
make it
stringent
official.
Things in the
husband
prenup.
And wife.
So
what do you lose?
It could be that whatever is contained in the prenup is what she's contained, not just the prenup in general. So, like, if we know what's contained in the prenup, then yes, because we've seen certain people, like I remember I was listening to one of these very famous divorce lawyers from LA, and he had one where the prenup, it had in it, if the woman gains 10 pounds, she loses like 10 million. Do you know how insane that is?
Well,
That's what the prenup is. In case we divorce, for every time that you gain 10 pounds, then if we should divorce at the time that you've already gained, whatever the settlement is, you will lose this amount. Like, people have stuff like that, weird stuff like that in their prenups. So we don't know what was contained. It doesn't matter if
how do you lose 10 million when you don't have it in the first place?
We don't know what was contained in the prenup. It could be that what was contained in the prenup is what she's contesting or what she feels is unjust.
And if I don't have enough money.
And Mangana is very passionate about prenups. So saying, you are home and dry. This man is not going to put in place a prenup. Ladies, Calvin, what do you have for us this week?
You are sorted. Your 50-50 football podcast, the show where no opinion is safe, no take is too hot, and every week we give you 50-50 straight fact and straight fire. My name is Calvin Owusu, and doing this with Kwaku Sapo inside. Mangana, yes, man 99. You're going to hear from him. This United's friend, yes, he's around. Well, but, there are things that is happening. Yes, the man who thinks he knows football better than Pep Guardiola, yes, Mikel Arteta is around. He has a lot to deliver this weekend if he should give Arsenal any promise of winning something big this season. Let's get into a very stat show for you today. Let's talk about the UEFA Champions League. Who picks up the best player of all time award for you when it comes to the history of the UCL? Trust me, we are not going to agree on that one. Then we get into the debate. Is Kylian Mbappé sitting in Madrid right now regretting every decision he made? And is Harry Kane quietly becoming the best footballer on the planet? We are going there. We are also talking about Ghana. Carlos Queiroz is the new man in charge of the Black Stars. Is he the right appointment? And we're actually ready for the World Cup or not, and whether the real talk on very, very big games coming up this weekend. Chelsea, Manchester United, and Arsenal, Manchester City. Big predictions, big games, big energy for the next couple of minutes. Zero compromises. Let's get into it. This is the 50-50 Football Podcast. All right. Yes, let's get into, the topics. It's actually been an interesting week. But let's begin from, where we had to, the UEFA Champions League.
Calvin, interesting thing, I had all my predictions correct. A certain oracle thought Barcelona were going to turn things around. And I told him, listen, no matter what's going to happen,
Gentlemen,
there was no way.
Yeah.
Atleti would score a goal. Barcelona could outscore them on the 9th, but in terms of aggregate,
red cards are part of the game. It's about discipline. It's about discipline.
Boss.
It's about discipline.
Boss, please respect yourself. Respect yourself.
David. And Canadian, leave it behind. Paco, what? Paco, once you've taken charge, let's get into it. Were you surprised with, the advancement and especially how the games went, especially the Bayern Real Madrid game?
Bayern Real Madrid game was a brilliant game of football. It's perhaps the most played knockout fixture of the UCL, and it never disappoints. In recent years, we've seen several versions of it. We've seen Carlo Ancelotti versus Zidane on several occasions. We saw Jupp Heynckes versus Mourinho in 2012. Now we are watching, or we just watched Nagelsmann versus Ancelotti again last year. This year we just watched Vincent Kompany, his first time meeting Real Madrid as a coach, and the first leg they were absolutely amazing. Madrid couldn't live, with the physicality, with the intensity, with the movement of the Bayern Munich side, and there was a bit of inexperience in the Madrid team as well. Let's not forget we saw Dean Huijsen and Thiago Petach start in that game. Now Real Madrid went away to Bavaria as wounded lions, and then they brought all the big boys. Every single one of the big boys that was available started in the game. The only one that they missed dearly was Thibaut Courtois. And trust me, if had Thibaut Courtois been in the post for those 180 minutes against Bayern Munich, they would have qualified. I have no doubt in my mind, because the errors that Lunin made were unforgivable, And so I'm not surprised that the match went the way it went. So they had Lunin in post. Unfortunately, Thibaut Courtois wasn't available. And in defense, Fallon Mendy returned. Let's not forget, Ancelotti described him as the best defensive fullback in the world at the time. He had Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I'll spend some time on Trent Alexander-Arnold. And he played with the two big boys in central defense. Rudiger was back in imperious form, and Eder Militao was simply amazing on the night. And then my man of the match, and unfortunately, I'm not sure how Olise ended up with the man of the match accolade. He was anonymous for about 70 minutes of the game and sprang up in the last 20, and then they gave him the man of the match. But for me, the man of the match was...
Those were the defining moments.
For me, I like to see the entirety of the game, right? For me, the man of the match was Jude Bellingham. It was an all-action display from Jude.
I don't think so. The second half, it was off.
Again, I'll get into the details. He was simply amazing. Jude Bellingham was everywhere. We saw a proper all-action display from Jude Bellingham, and really typifies the typical English midfielder. Whenever you close your eyes and you want to describe the typical English midfielder and how the culture of English football is all-action display, end-to-end, box-to-box, full of running, full of energy, tackles, technique, and that's what he has as well, that technique. And he has this presence and aura about him, and he really stamped his authority on the day. Now, Trent Alexander-Arnold showed us the two sides of him. He has two extreme ends, extremely good in the attacking phase, and unfortunately, his defensive frailties always show. So the first goal, that Lunin fumbled the ball. Yes, he fumbled. He moved off his line. He made a mistake. However, Trent should have been stronger. He should have pinned Pavlovic down. There's no way Pavlovic should have gotten to that ball. There's no way he should have gotten to that ball because he was with Trent and he was more aggressive and he got the ball and it was virtually an empty goal and he scored. On the second goal as well, it was Eder Militao and Trent Alexander-Arnold marking Abri and Harry Kane. For some reason, Alexander decided not to be close to Harry Kane. For some reason, he decided to give Harry Kane space. And funny enough, he had no one behind him. So you'd think that perhaps Luis Diaz was behind him, so he was trying to close that space down, but he had nobody behind him. And so he just allowed Harry Kane to receive the ball, take a first touch, control, and pass the ball into the far side. And I think he showed the two sides of him. On the other hand, whenever he received the ball and he surged forward and he, especially whenever he inverted into the midfield, he was extremely amazing. His passing, whenever he received the ball, giving an outlet to the midfielders to always be the third man to receive the ball for them and giving an extra body in midfield, it was amazing. Now,
best attributes to be their defending.
Yep. He flapped this line. And Vini was horrible on the day, extremely horrible on the day. Well, I mean, Madrid they know what they bought. They know exactly what they bought. And I can explain something that happened in the second half that goes to show exactly
what was it?
That's my point. So in the second half, you guys realized that around 55 to 60 minutes, they made a sub, took out. In fact, no, it was at the beginning of the second half, they made a sub. They took out Stanisic, moved Kevin Lima, Brad Lima to right back, and then brought Alphonso Davies to left back. So that was to double team on Trent Alexander-Arnold, because Conrad Lima is a half space guy. He would move in, and he's a right-footed player as well. He would move into the right. He would invert into midfield, right? But they needed the pace and width of Alphonso Davies to continue to trouble Trent Alexander-Arnold. So what they did? They brought Alphonso Davies on. And Alvaro Arbeloa was smart. When he realized that they were trying to target him, that's when he took off Brahim Diaz, who on the day honestly wasn't really effective. Let's be honest. Brahim wasn't exactly effective on the day. Things were working out for Real Madrid, but Brahim as a person wasn't effective on the day, same as Vinicius Jr. Again, so he took out Brahim Diaz, moved Federico Valverde to the right because he can hold the width and he can support Trent Alexander-Arnold in defense, and then brought in Eduard Camavinga to support Jude Bellingham. Now, you made a point that Jude Bellingham was a bit off in the second half, and it happened because Eduard hasn't been the Eduard of old. You are a French football fan, so you know this, Kelvin, that Eduard Camavinga for the past about 18 months, I'm not sure what's happened to him. I don't know what's got into his head. He just hasn't
been. He's been on a drastic decline.
Drastic decline. And I worry for him that he could get shipped out.
So that when you finish making your point, I'll tell you
I'm
why
not sure the big teams would be clamoring for him. Perhaps he can end up in Italy, fine, but I think he has so much football in him that he needs to do well. And it takes me straight to the second you look at that receipt, which I think was very unfortunate. Is it in the rule book? Yes. However, So
Nope.
can I make my point?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now Kelvin is heckling me. He's heckling. So
You are looking at the common sense in a different
I think
way.
it was unfortunate because what he did, fine, it's in the rule book, but at some point, common sense trumps the rule. I've mentioned it several times. Common sense trumps the rule, and those who say no, it's like on the day you're driving home and then you're navigating a turn into your driveway. Can I finish? You're navigating.
You're gonna have your time.
Hey.
All right, okay.
I think it was unfortunate because even the referee noticed when he showed the second yellow card that he had made a mistake, because he didn't realize that he had even shown him a first yellow. The first yellow, he had to make that tactical foul because Madrid were out of position. And the same thing happened with that foul. Bayern Munich wanted a quick free kick. Madrid were out of shape. They had broken their defensive structure because they were on the offense. So they had moved forward. And he himself, being the holding six, had also moved forward. So he was behind the ball. Had he left the ball, Kimmich would have taken a free kick. And so that's why he held onto the ball. And he didn't even move for 5 yards and he left the ball. Referee showed the yellow card. And it was Joshua Kimmich that reminded the referee that this is his second yellow before he showed the red. Right? Uh-huh. So that even goes to that's a clear indication that the referee in his mind thought this was even the first yellow. Because for a referee to show the second yellow, sometimes they give you some room. You make multiple fouls before they will show the second yellow.
From the referee. There was also a gesture from the referee. All right, you go finish.
So again, when the first yellow card is given, before a second yellow is shown, sometimes referees or the smart ones, the ones who really understand the flow of the game and how their decisions affect the outcomes of the game, they would give you room. They would give you some more until or unless, of course, your offense is very grave, right? This time around, the referee showed the second yellow card, and it was Joshua Kimmich that reminded him that this is this player's second yellow booking before he showed the red card. I'm sure deep in his heart, he regrets it. But of course, he needs to have that executive presence to show that he showed the card with conviction. Okay? I think it was unfortunate, and it's no surprise that 3 minutes after that incident, Bayern Munich got the second, and then soon after, they got the final goal from Olise. So I think that sums up my analysis of the game. Madrid really did well on the day. Defended in a tight broke forward in a nice shape where Vinicius always moved on to the left and Mbappé stayed central. At the start, Mbappé was trying to play on Jonathan Tah, play as a target man on Tah. And when you play that way, you lose 100% of the balls because Mbappé, that's not your game. You're not back to goal player. Leave that for Lukaku and the rest. They can do that. So as soon as he started moving into space, that's when he got the better of Jonathan Tah. And Upamecano was, he was simply amazing on the day. He really did well for Bayern Munich. I know he made one mistake, is what I remember. But on the day, he was really good. Neuer, unfortunately, I'm not sure what he ate before the game. Perhaps it's the tea Kotoko drank before the 4-0 loss to Al Ahly in 2006. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Bayern Munich Real Madrid encounter. It's unfortunate for Arbeloa. I'm not exactly happy for Olise and company.
Madrid's performance was a direct benefit from Manuel Neuer just being appalling on the day. The impetus they got was because Manuel Neuer misplaced that first pass that got them a goal in the first minute, which essentially brought them to 2-2. And then the free kick, which I think he should have done way better. He managed to get across, and then it wasn't like he was even on a full stretch. He was literally like in a standing position to try and then palm the ball. And I don't know how he managed to let that ball get into the net. And that is how Madrid got some form of impetus to be like, oh, okay, we can. Apart from the only good goal they really scored or well-worked goal was Mbappe's goal. The other two, Neuer gave one away and should have dealt with the second. Now, when it comes to Camavinga's yellow, and Didi saying that, common sense should have prevailed. Common sense should have prevailed on Camavinga's side in the first place. Knowing that you're on a yellow card and doing something that is so petulant to put yourself in the position where the referee would have to give you a second yellow. You've fouled the player, right? You know it's the dying embers of the game, and you are on a yellow card. If someone is going to try and prevent a quick free kick, it shouldn't be you. That is the first thing that should come into your mind. It shouldn't be you if someone is trying to prevent a quick free kick. And for the referee, it was clear, it was blatant that was what he was doing. And once it is clear and blatant that that's what you're doing, that in itself makes it a yellow card offense because you are intentionally causing a delay of the game. and the referee has every right to show you a second yellow. So the common sense part should have prevailed on Camavinga's side. Which one? The one with a high foot? No, is it the one with a high foot? Good. I would.
Okay.
You can say. He
right,
didn't
go
deserve
ahead.
it because he didn't mean to, but it's still a red card offense. But it's still a red card offense.
Did Nani
Kelvin,
deserve that record in
No,
2013?
Kelvin, if you heard me, no, I told you that
That's the only red card against Real Madrid.
his wasn't intentional. This was
Did
intentional.
he deserve it?
Calvin,
Yes or no?
this
Did he
wasn't
deserve
this
it?
intentional? With Nani's, it wasn't intentional, but it was still a red card offense.
Okay, it's fine.
This was intentional, and he was yellow carded for it for a second time.
Kelvin, did you hear him?
So
It was
if
fumbling
you
there.
want common sense,
He
to
didn't
prevail,
deserve
let
it, but he
the player
deserved it.
start having the common sense to know that I'm not the one that's supposed to prevent a quick free kick when I'm already on a yellow card.
My lord, I rest my case.
That's true. But I think I have my own issues on any day. I think that these are big games, where referees need to take the light of them. Camavinga might have been very silly, but it wasn't more like he was trying to, stop a restart. As soon as the foul came, he just picked up the ball and then he just wanted to get back into position. Most players do it. Most players do it.
It's the basic thing they are taught in the academy.
You get
It's the basic thing they are taught in academy.
And it's
Never
not like
turn
Bayern
to the ball. That's it.
Exactly. It's not like Bayern had the ball and then he was trying to stop them from having a quick restart. If that was the case, then it would have been valid. But to the point that he decided to drop it there. But I think Camavinga himself should take a quick look at his actions and inactions. It was the same thing last year in the quarterfinals against Arsenal when he had, the red card, a second yellow card for kicking the ball away.
Yeah, that was very blatant.
And I think, yes, even at France, he's had a number of them. And I think that he should quickly make an introspection into his game and how decline his style has become. I think people understand the reason why Didier Deschamps is trying to bring N'Golo Kante as a second option, to, let's say, Aurelien Tchouameni or whoever starts in the DM role, because he doesn't trust the mentality of Eduardo Camavinga. And I think that even with Arbeloa, when he was making the change, I thought he was going to bring a controller to come help stabilize the midfield. But he decided to just bring Camavinga. And, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen, Pitach virtually conduct everything for Real Madrid. And when you were in the lead in the second half of a game and the tie was equal, you have two of the most devastating forwards you can have in world football, Vinicius and Mbappé. There was no need trying to just, leave it out and bring Camavinga on, because there was always going to be trouble. Once Fede Valverde got off the back of Jude Bellingham, that was it. Madrid were just let loose. But I think there is one question that I wanted to ask all of us. Is it that Mbappé, is it Real Madrid style not helping Mbappé, or Mbappé not helping Madrid, but just himself? And do you think that he might be ruining, the decision to leave PSG to Madrid?
I don't think he needs to rule the decision for leaving PSG to Madrid. And I don't think it is anything to do with Mbappe's style or whatsoever. You see, football is a funny thing, right? In the sense that if Mbappé was... So I don't think it was a mistake for him to join Real Madrid in the first place. And I don't think if he had stayed in Paris Saint-Germain, it was going to work out the way we think it's going to work out, because they've won the Champions League. There are certain players, it's not necessarily because of how they play or whatsoever, but sometimes certain things just pass you by. It takes getting to win trophies is not something that is the God-given right of every player to have. We have certain players who have been talented across different sports, who are extremely talented but never got to the promised land. And sometimes it's just a circumstance of where you are. It's not necessarily to do with how he plays, because with Mbappé, it's not like there's something that is lacking in his game that is preventing that. Madrid currently just couldn't do what was needed to get to the next level. And I don't think a lot of that has to do with how Mbappé plays, right? When he was in PSG, they had Messi, they had Neymar. What didn't they have in the attacking third? Messi has multiple UCLs. Neymar also has a UCL. So I don't think it had anything to do with how Mbappé plays. It's just that he is that kind of enigma, or that kind of player in that mode where you just are like, nearly, you would almost always get there and then you just keep missing out. But it has nothing to do with how he plays.
Okay. Well, let's see. But I would like,
Yeah, you're going to say something. Go on.
You go ahead. Go ahead with that. And then you continue with, Harry Kane. is he silently, is he quietly telling us that he's the best in the world now? Because it looks like the radar has been off him. 50 goals, across all competitions this season when the season hasn't even ended. It's phenomenal.
It's amazing, honestly. And that's what happens when you go to a big club. People begin to notice what you're doing. Now you begin to make the headlines. Everything that you do has added weight onto it because it's meaningful. It's more substantial. You're not fighting for points just to make top four. You are scoring goals to win titles. You are scoring goals, on the grandest of stages like the Champions League, quarterfinals, right, against Real Madrid. So it means more. That's the difference. Okay. Now, I want to send this caution out to Kylian Mbappé. I know he's listening to us because he's a big aficionado of our show. Kylian Mbappé, Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham. I'm telling you guys now, if amongst the three of you, if you guys don't try to win the Ballon d'Or this year or next year, that's it. That's it. Because the very moment Barca assembles a proper team, a solid team for Lamine Yamal and he starts to win the Champions League, that's it. That's it. No one comes close to Lamine Yamal.
You're saying he's the heir apparent, right?
He is. He's ready for it now. The unfortunate thing is that Barca team is not strong enough. They don't have quality across all four departments of the game, plus the bench. They just don't have it, right? Should they build a proper defense? Should they build a good midfield? Should they have good supporting casts for him in attack? That's it. That's it. He's going to be Ballon d'Or until he gets injured or until he decides not to be Ballon d'Or anymore. So I'm just sending this word of caution out to Kylian Mbappé. I know you're listening to me. Vinicius, I know you're listening to me. Jude, I know you're listening to us. You better move heaven and earth to win the Ballon d'Or. And the problem here is that I see a lack of motivation for Real Madrid. They've all won everything. Mbappé unfortunately walked into the club when the top players over there had won at least 2 Champions League titles. Vinicius has won twice. He scored in both finals. Rodrigo had won. Dude won in his first season. So I feel a lack of motivation. That to me is the big problem. And they've been very unfortunate with injuries too. Last season, they lost the entire back line. This season, for most part of the season, they had lost the leaders at the back.
Jude has also been out for quite a while.
Jude has also been out with his shoulder and later his groin. Now he's back, hopefully ready for the World Cup. Okay, so that lack of motivation and the unfortunate injuries to several of the leaders in the squad has really, really let Real Madrid down. Because other than that, Mbappé is being Mbappé. He's even scoring more than he used to.
It has nothing to do with Mbappé.
Exactly. To me,
the circumstances.
It has nothing to do with him. And so is that coupled with the fact that they don't have a Joselu again. I always talk about Joselu. Like such players, they are not the superstars of the team, but they are important complements. Exactly. They are important complements. Last 2 years when they met Bayern Munich, it was Joselu that changed the game for them when he came from the bench. He changed the game from them. They almost lost the game. Did I say Stamford Bridge? My bad.
Allianz.
They almost lost. No, Allianz. Santiago Bernabeu. And he came on to change the game for them. So, a couple of these reasons, but not specifically Kylian Mbappé. Harry Kane, for me, yes, he stands a good chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. People should pipe down with that Olise shout. Rich. They should really pipe down with the Olise shout. He's doing very well. I said it last week that he's really surprised me. People are making this insane comparison with Lamine Yamal that Olise is the best right wing in the world. No, Lamine Yamal is not even my cup of tea, but please, that boy's talent and his performance, I beg you. Olise no reach yet.
Olise is up there.
I think
he no reach Lamine. He no reach Lamine.
Olise is up there.
When it comes to the conversation of Ballon d'Or, I don't think they are making the assertion that Olise is equal in talent with Lamine Yamal or better. But once
they are saying it, Papa.
Once Barca exited in the quarterfinal, and if Bayern Munich go on to win, we all do know that when it comes to the award, those who win the major trophies have a leg up. So if, let's say, the France national team end up winning the World Cup and Olise plays a pivotal role in it, then coupled with Bayern Munich winning the Champions League, he will be more than close to winning it. It would be very difficult to vote against him.
So you see the comparisons that happened when Lamine Yamal also got onto the scene. And some were making the assertions that Rafinha even had a better season, was better performing. And I always say that Rafinha is the reason why Barca have struggled in some of their important games because of his absence. when they need him to show up, that is a time when he's very much unavailable. It's the same thing that I think is happening with what Olise is doing for Bayern this year. And you look at the numbers of both players and how they are carrying their teams. And it looks like Olise is doing a much more decent job this season than what Lamine Yamal may be doing for FC Barcelona. And
Kelvin,
that is the reason why.
Kelvin, did you watch Lamine Yamal versus Atletico Madrid on both legs? In both legs?
Yes, I did.
Lamine Yamal was at the press conference throwing shots at them, warning them, and he got onto the field, and within the first 5 minutes, he scored a goal.
Yes, he managed to score, but after
Kelvin, that boy forgets. He's not even my cup of tea, but forgets.
I know, he's brilliant. He's brilliant, but this season, the season under review.
That's the thing.
Olise, the season under review.
It's the season under review. Like, no one is denying the talent.
Guys, have you watched Lamine Yamal?
No, that's what we are.
Do you watch Olise?
Yeah, this season.
No, what is the award? What is the award, right? The award
this season, do you watch Olise?
Kelvin, pause. So Olise is on his way to winning the German Bundesliga, right? Well,
Lamine Yamal wrap it all up this weekend.
Well, Lamine Yamal is on his way to winning the Spanish La Liga.
And that's it. And that's the only thing he can win.
No, let me add.
That's the only thing he can win.
Let me add one more thing. It's very likely he will be crowned Player of the Year, La Liga Player of the Year as well.
And that could also be crowned Player of the Year in Germany.
Won't be crowned Player of the Year in Germany because Harry Kane exists over there.
It could happen.
No, let me make a point. Harry Kane exists over there.
Olise doesn't have to win Player of the Year in Germany. Once they win the Champions League.
And I don't think they'll win the Champions League.
I think they will.
I don't think they will.
They have a very good team, but
they have a very good team. They stand a very good chance of winning. But my heart is for Atletico Madrid.
Let's see what happens. Let's just move on. Before we move out to the historic part, I wanted us to pick the best Champions League player of the year. I just want you quickly, out of the 4 teams, which club do you think is going to lift the UEFA Champions League title? And just do that in a max of 2 minutes each. Starting with you, Nana. Sorry.
I'm going for Bayern Munich, mostly because I think Harry Kane is unsung. I think their attack is potent enough. The defense do well enough. I just hope Neuer doesn't have another kind of game like the one he had in the against Madrid at the Allianz Arena. But they do have an all-round good team that I think they can beat PSG with. Out of all the 4 teams, I think they are better equipped to beat PSG. So for me, with Harry Kane up front, with Olise doing the amount of work he's doing now with the assist and how he creates chances, with even Musiala back, even though he's not in the Musiala form that he of previous years, I think they have enough in the squad to be able to cause problems for any of the other 3 teams. And I think they are the best equipped to beat the defending champions. So I would go for Bayern Munich.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater. I'm a Vincent Company hater.
All right.
I'm happy for him, as a black man. I'm happy for him that he's doing this on the world's biggest stage. I'm still a hater, though. Honestly, do they stand a good chance of beating Bayern Munich? I think so. However, it won't be an easy task. I don't think it would be an easy task. I know the last time they met at the Club World Cup, PSG won. I remember that. PSG won 2-0, I believe. And even in the Champions League, just a few months ago, they won 2-1 as well when they met PSG. But again, this is a 2-legged affair. In a 2-legged affair like this, experience really counts. We saw how the company struggled to beat Real Madrid or to navigate past Real Madrid. And yes, I understand that, yes, it's Real Madrid, soon, everything. And they have some of the best players in the world. But so does PSG. They're also the defending champions. I believe Luis Enrique knows how to navigate a tie. They would approach each game as a half of the entire tie. So it would be tough. My mind is telling me PSG would qualify, but my heart is for Bayern Munich. No, it's the other way around. My mind is telling me Bayern Munich would qualify, but my heart is telling me PSG would qualify. As to who wins the Champions League, my heart is 100% for Atletico Madrid. I think Diego Simeone deserves it. He's really done so well with this club, being there for 15 years, continuously competing against the giants of the world. He's never had the best team in the world, but he continuously squeezes water out of rocks. And yet again, he's in the semi-final. He's meeting Arteta. And I hope he finds a way to beat Arteta, especially this Arsenal side that looks toothless. Now, Mangana, we've given this man a pass for the last God knows how many minutes we've been on this pod today. We haven't talked about Arsenal, and he's given us different topics, but avoiding Arsenal.
I'm not avoiding Arsenal. Okay, so what do you want? What do you want to know?
Come out and let's have a discussion.
What do you want to know?
There's
What
nothing
do you want
to
to know about Arsenal?
What is happening? What is happening? Tell us what is happening to your club.
I think I've always said it, and people think that I hate Arteta. Arsenal was clearly, a retrogression from December. If anyone watched Arsenal closely, you could see that now players don't play with that freedom again. They don't express themselves. They are not offensive-minded. They try to contain, and they try to be on the defensive end instead of being on the offensive. Arteta is playing reactive football instead of, proactive football. Arsenal taking the game to opponents. No. Now he sits back, watch what the opponents do, and tries to do what? Counter, and then hit on the brakes and pick up on, the fine margins from set pieces and counter breaks. And I think that it continuously hurting the team. Just like they always say that, you are what you repeatedly do. It's what is happening to Arsenal now. They are so conservative in nature that they don't want to lose the ball. If anyone remembers last week, the first leg, that goal, when Martinelli picked the ball up, Declan Rice was instructing him to get the ball back because they're thinking, goalless was fine. But Martinelli decided to defy him, and then once that cross went in, there was a connection. And I think that most of the players are also worn out. I don't see how a manager cannot trust a captain of a Premier League team who plays brilliantly for his national team, Norgard, cannot trust him to play in midfield when he actually even excels in games that, you put him in. And he's playing Declan Rice, Zubimendi consistently, continuously. And when these players are tied up, that is when they give passes away. Now, Arsenal cannot even play football and allow their creative players to even think and be on the run to try create from deeper lines or even through the middle. With the exception of when Bukayo Saka decides to play, and he's been awful this season. Or Max Doman gets into the game and he decides to bring on the A game and tries to do something. Or Gabriel Jesus comes on in the game and tries to do one or two dribbles. So it's a problem with Arteta, which I have drummed, home for the last couple of weeks. That if Arsenal continues this way, they are going to lose it. And if any trophy gets to Arteta and his boys, then it will be out of maybe,
the other team being terrible.
It will be a wonder. Yes, the other team being terrible, or maybe the fine margins, Arsenal getting it better than the other team. If you look at over the two legs, Sporting only got out of their tie because it was David Raya who decided to be extremely excellent.
I was shocked that you people
especially in the first
0-0 draw.
Exactly.
At your home.
And let's not forget this is coming on the back of that disappointing game against AFC Bournemouth. And Arsenal is consistently losing players. Now they don't have the trust whether Jurriën Timber is coming back for this weekend, whether Bukayo Saka is going to be available. Martin Odegaard is still absent. Declan Rice is ill and he's playing through illness. And it clearly gives you an indication Ricardo Calafiori may possibly be available for the weekend. And Arsenal is continuously sinking. I think it's what the manager has done. Just when Gabriel Henze came into the team, I was thinking, how is it that you lose an offensive-minded Carlos Cuesta to the Serie A? And the next person you could think of was Gabriel Henze. Arsenal were going to be ultra-defensive. And that is what is coming to pass. I don't know how he's going to liberate his players in the last 6 games of the Premier League and then the Champions League tie against Atletico. Many are saying Harambo, but trust you me, Diego Simeone has a better attacking style than what Arsenal have. And he has players who on a day can be devastatingly brilliant to rip Arsenal apart. Julian Alvarez, Ademola Lookman, Llorente, and then Antoine Griezmann, the magician in the middle of the pitch. All these guys. And Simeone, his son, they are just, those 5 players can put together and rip Arsenal apart in that game. Maybe Arsenal
don't even forget Selot.
Exactly. Arsenal did beat them in the group stages, all right. But I think what Atletico have done, the progressive wins over Barcelona and qualification over them in the cup, in the cup ties from Copa del Rey to the Champions League, has given them an edge. That come on, this is our year. We don't see any of the other teams standing in our way, and they can do it.
If you watch Arteta play football, you would think that he was actually an assistant manager for Simeone than he was an assistant manager for Pep.
Yes, and it's quite terrible. The kind of football Arsenal played in 2022, 2023, we are not seeing it. And I don't see how a manager can be this retrogressive. You see all managers getting their teams better. How is it that Cherki is playing with more freedom than Zubimendi? How is it that Anton Semenyo comes and then he fits perfectly into the City team and is with, so much fluidity than, Arsenal's players? And it's quite a wonder. And it's just the manager. Everything boils down to the manager. If he loses this weekend, then trust you me, Arsenal are going to break down and they may not win anything.
Don't you think you're going to lose this weekend?
Trust in Arteta.
That's.
It's a well-rested Man City side. They have no midweek commitments. They've rested very well enough. And I've stressed on this podcast that the best finisher of a season is Pep Guardiola when it comes to the league title. Nobody knows how to finish a season than him.
Last week, he himself made mention of it, that he's a genius. If you've forgotten, he said he's a genius and he knows how to do this.
This is when the Arsenal players will show that they are worth their salt.
Let's see what happens. And I think that you guys have already rolled us into the weekend. And yes, I wanted us to do some other thing, but I think we've done a lot of the Champions League. Maybe we can save that for, the first leg or just before the first leg of the semi-final ties. But now let's quickly move on and get into, some other matters. Yes, because there's a lot to think about, a lot to talk about. Now, this weekend is going to be a very big weekend. Manchester City, Arsenal at the Etihad. Title implications, form guide, key battles, possible lineups, and a score prediction from each one of you. Manchester City have the psychological edge of Arsenal. They have better performing players. They have a manager who is very much positive and knows the weaknesses of, his former subordinate, Mikel Arteta. He knows how to get at Arsenal. He knows that just stopping Arsenal from the wing play, takes them out. Unless Eberechi Eze has an, amazing day and decides to feed Victor Gyökeres, who is miles off. And, the question is, it's funny that Sweden, who don't play regularly every single time, manage to find the best out of Victor Gyökeres when he's playing for them, because he's the target man. They play to him, they play for him, they play through him.
They play vertical. They are not trying to go horizontal the whole time. They go direct and play vertical. Exactly. They know that's where the goals come from.
Thank you. And that is what Arsenal have failed to do. And what Pep needs to do only is to just play a 3-back at a point, bring in the extra left back to come and play in midfield. And then Arsenal would find themselves wanting, because they'll be passing the ball around, and then the goalkeeper will become the best passer of the ball after the club.
You know, Arsenal haven't won a Premier League. Arsenal haven't won a Premier League game since March.
Yeah.
Since 14th March. Arsenal have not won a Premier League. And
April is also Arteta's, most disappointing month. He breaks down in April. And every time he wins manager of the month, the following month, he needs to get into some trouble before he bounces back. So everything is pointing down to a City victory. The only thing that maybe Arsenal can bang their hopes on is their defensive solidity. If they put on their A game and make sure that no space is allowed, I am only afraid of, the besting runs from Nico Riley, if Tijani Reynes plays, or let's say Rodri outside the penalty area, or Bernardo Silva in crucial positions, or maybe Antoine Semenyo on the back of a run where Miles Lewis Kelly or Hincapie may miss out on him, and then they will score. Other than that, I don't trust.
Playing.
It's a 50-50.
It doesn't look like he's going to play, right?
Yes.
So it's likely going to be Ben White.
Yes, Ben White. And we've all seen him. And, I think that even with Ben White, in as much as he's not your ideal right back, we've seen that when he was allowed to be very much offensive last season, last 2 seasons, you could see that, come on, this is a guy who can give you something better with Bukayo Saka, because they had a better understanding. Now he's being limited.
Is Saka fit?
Saka isn't fit.
So he's likely not to play.
Fit. He's likely not to be available. So maybe Mosquera may be down on the right hand side. And even Noni Madueke is not, fit.
Noni.
So Arsenal are in shambles now. And this goes back to talk about, player management and Declan Rice. I don't know how physically he will be ready to battle it out in midfield with Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and then whoever plays for Manchester City. And we know Ryan Cherki.
I mean, we know Manchester City's team. I can close my eyes and name Manchester City's team.
He's going to use
not going
Arsenal.
to change it.
He's going to use Arsenal, for a party, barbecue.
Kelvin, I think you've fully analyzed the whole game.
And I think that it's a Manchester City game to lose at the Etihad.
Yes, I think you have said everything about the game that needs to be said. But I'm going to put my hat on for Arsenal because there's no tactical argument for Arsenal. There's no momentum argument for Arsenal. In fact, there's no argument for Arsenal other than you just hope the boys show up. And I am believing that the boys will show up this weekend.
I don't see it happening, honestly. I struggle to see it. I want to see it.
I'm not seeing it happening. I said I'm choosing to believe that they will show up.
I just can't see it. I just can't see it. Like, I'm struggling to see it.
Because you don't have the third eye. Relax.
Okay, cool. That is true. You won't see it happening.
No, I'm actually struggling to see it. Like, when was the last time Arsenal went away to beat Manchester City? When was it? No, Arsenal.
This weekend.
When was also this weekend?
I'm telling you, this weekend, it will soon become history.
Present, past tense, on.
Yes, it will soon become history. I have seen it.
No, I struggle to see. I don't remember the last time Arsenal went away to beat Man City. I don't. I really, really don't. I struggle to see it. So, listen, I think you guys blew it.
2015. Oh.
Yeah, I think you guys blew it. You blew the opportunity. And now you should have been home and dry, coasting to the title. But I think you're going to bottle it once again. I think bridesmaid syndrome once again. And Mangana mentioned this a couple of weeks ago that if you lose this title, that should be it for Arteta. Yes, he's built this team, but sometimes that's the ceiling. Someone else needs to come in to win the trophy.
Maybe he himself has to leave because they presented him with a contract in January. He decided not to renew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, if he renews it, what will change?
He stays.
I'm saying that if he doesn't win it, and he had renewed in January, what will change? Nothing. He will still not be able to win anything. So I think he is cognizant of the fact that he thinks that is the most he can get out of the players himself, and that's the most he can get out of himself. So if he doesn't win it, yes. If he doesn't win it, fine. And if he wins it, then
exit.
Yes, and if he wins it, he has a better case for a bigger contract.
All right, quick one. A clash of two clubs in very different rebels. Talking point, Danger Man. Manchester United in defensive woes.
This is all Mangana. This is all for Mangana.
Manchester is playing Wolves.
With this, and I know Kweku loves Carlos Queiroz. I'll get to Kweku. He's going to start that discussion for us, and then we'll just add some small polish to it, and then we finish it up. But big game, Chelsea-Manchester United.
Chelsea-Manchester United. The loss against Leeds was a terrible loss. Granted, referee decisions played a part, but they allowed 2 goals in that they shouldn't have allowed in. They didn't take their chances, but the good thing was they created chances at least. Chelsea are also in a terrible spot themselves. So going into this game, I think both teams need a win, but none of them have shown that like they are in imperious form. United's loss to Leeds was a terrible loss. Very, very terrible. And if clearly shows that without Kobe Mainoo next to Casemiro, Ugarte just can't seem to play football nowadays. I just don't understand why. We've lost almost every game Ugarte starts. And you don't even understand why that is possible. For a midfielder who was so talented at winning the ball, he just can't seem to do what he's best at in the Premier League. And it's an awful thing to see.
I think the problem is trying to play the same way we play when Kobe Mainoo plays. It shouldn't be the case. There are different profiles, there are different type of players, different strengths. So with the absence of Kobe Mainoo, our game model should change as well.
No, but
because you don't expect us to be able to play that same way.
We've had Ugarte and what was his name?
I don't want to talk about the past. You understand?
Yeah, but I'm saying
Amorim, those were very dark days.
Yes, I'm saying that.
In his final season was a very dark.
I'm driving to a point that he's played under 3 different managers who have 3 different styles, and we still see that he's just not up. He's just not up to the level.
So you see, I'm reacting to the point you made that without Kobe Mainoo playing next to Casemiro, and I'm saying based off of that, should Manu Ugarte play, our game model should change.
And that's why I'm also pushing. And that's what I'm also pushing back on that.
The Leeds game, I think, was an attitude issue. We went into the game too bullish. We thought we would win.
And that's what I'm saying.
The attitude was wrong.
Look,
the way we started the game was wrong. And Ugarte now looks like a bad luck, whether he does something good or not.
But that's what
ends badly for him.
Yes, that's what I was pushing back on. It's like he's played under multiple different managers. So I don't think it's more about just that specific game. I just think it's an accumulation where it's just not working for him. It's like one of those things. It's not like he has become a terrible player, but the circumstances and everything just not working for him. So everything just keeps going from bad to worse. That's just his current situation, and he needs to either find a way to get himself out of the rut when he goes to the World Cup, or he might have to find a different club. And I think they'll probably get rid of him in the summer. So for the Chelsea are also in a bad spot. They just can't seem to also get a win. I don't even know how and what they want to play in every game. And the players also coming out making statements that are just, what do you call it?
There's no leadership at
undermining
Chelsea.
the manager, undermining the club.
No leadership.
There's
no leadership at Chelsea.
I think we should have a segment on Chelsea and try and dissect them.
We would. We'll bring their loud fans.
Like,
the number of their loud fans.
Yeah, like no one understands what's happening at the club.
Yeah.
Like no one knows the direction. No one understands the project. I think Fifi Manfred is the only one that understands the project.
And I think it's a shambles from top to bottom.
We need to bring Fifi Manfred. He's the only one that seems to understand the project.
And I think it's a shambles from top to bottom. But I think if United come in and decide to put in a professional performance, they should win against Chelsea. Because the Chelsea team, I just don't know what they want to do, how they want to do it, and who they want to even do it with.
It's a winnable game, but the only unfortunate thing is that United would lose both Licha and Maguire.
Yeah.
So, it falls on, and then Delete has been out for God knows how long.
They are contesting the Martinez red card. I don't know if the Premier League have ruled on it.
It's Friday. We haven't heard anything yet. I doubt it's going to.
There's still time.
United are going to
really doubt. I know you're a United fan. You're being optimistic, but let's deal with the facts. Let's deal with what's currently possible.
I think they have up to midday or something.
So in the absence of those two, which players fill in there? Lenny Euro and then?
You only have Heaven and Euro left to play. Yeah. Eden Heaven, I like him. He's good. I think he's the calmer out of the two, like the more composed out of the two when it comes to playing in the defensive line. And he has talent. Euro also has talent. They just have to understand that they are playing the Premier League, and they have to believe that they can, because it's not an issue of a lack of talent. It's just I think they feel like they are smaller pieces in like a huge machine, but they need to believe that they are worthy to be there, and that they can play against any of the best strikers or any of the best players in the Premier League. They don't have to sit there and have other players bully them. Calvert-Lewin bullying Euro was just appalling.
It was just appalling.
I mean, Calvin, it was expected. Euro is not the most physical centre back. If you've watched Euro since his days in Lille, coming down to United, since he came 2 to 3 years ago, he's not the most physically dominant defender. He's good on the ball, yes. He can make a tackle, especially in the foot race. He can make a tackle. He can win a ball. But when you play against a typical number 9, an old-fashioned number 9, like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously you see he will lose over there.
It's not Broby or Beto, who is like extremely physical. That's what I'm saying. Like,
he's very physical. He's
very physical. He tries.
He's
not number 9.
He's not as physical as Beto or Broby. Broby and Beto are more physical.
So it's just that he's more flexible than them. But is that your yes?
And I'm saying I know he plays a physical game, but he's not more physical than Beto or Broby. So
the underlying point is that he's still physical, right? Let's move on from there. He's still very physical. Euro's not the most physically dominant centre back, and it's hard for him to cope with such players. Eden Heaven would do a better job on any day than Lenny Euro when it comes to marking out a very physical centre back. I remember when we met West Ham United back in December, and I was discussing with Mangana on this, and he told me Heaven would hold his own against, what's his name, the English striker at West Ham.
Bowen?
No, Callum.
Antonio.
No.
Callum Wilson.
Callum Wilson. Yeah, Callum Wilson. You mentioned that he was going to hold his own, and he did hold his own against him. So he's very physical. My issue is that Chelsea will not play a physical striker. They're not going to play Liam Delap. They're going to play Joao Pedro, who's a very modern striker, very mobile, very technical on the ball, can draw deep, and force you to make fouls and things like that. So I think Euro would do a good job on him. I think Euro would do a better job in the Chelsea game than he did against Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Not because Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a better striker than Joao Pedro. No, it's just because of the different profiles. I'd have loved to have Licha in the game, but unfortunately, it's not going to be the case. I think it's going to be a squad draw.
A squad draw?
I think it'll be a squad draw.
Sorry, do you also predict a squad draw?
2-1 United win.
Well, I think it's also going to be a draw. I don't see a win coming out of this game. But
We'll be back.
Kelvin, interesting things going on down there. Tottenham should get their first one against Brighton. They are playing at home against Brighton. They have to get their first win. But now their destiny is not in their own hands.
Yes.
I was saying it last week that the unfortunate thing for them is that they've hired a system coach. And when you are fighting relegation, you don't need a system coach. You need a Jamal leader, someone who will come and change the spirit and raise.
Go there, Sam Allardyce's, go there.
Yeah, you need a proper fighter, like proper warrior, not a system manager. So
look at what Nuno Espirito Santo is doing with West Ham.
Exactly.
He's not thinking about the system. When he came his first game, he tried a system. He stopped. Now he's doing the direct
he needs to get
British
the result.
football.
Yeah, he just needs to get the result. And now their destiny is not in their own hands. They are 2 points behind West Ham. They are 2 points behind West Ham. They are playing at home to Brighton. I believe they should be able to win against Brighton. I strongly believe
we are going to win. They will win.
Are we? Hey.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
I am behind Spurs to the end of the season. They will get out of relegation.
I see.
And it's quite a difficult game. Very difficult.
It is going to be difficult because Brighton is one of those teams this season you don't know what you are getting. They are brilliant 1 week, the next week they are not. Yeah. So we pray and hope that this week is when they choose not to be brilliant.
Right. And West Ham is playing. West Ham is playing at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, the London derby. That's also very, very tough.
Yeah, but Crystal Palace doesn't really have much to play for.
Yeah, but then again, it's a London derby.
And they want knowing Espirito Santo, and knowing how are low in confidence. On goal of isn't and then West Ham have a goal difference of minus 17.
We are going to close that gap. Randall Kolomwani and Richarlison this weekend.
Hopefully, because what is happening?
I think Nottingham have the better fixture. They are playing Burnley at home. But the other issue is that they played in the Europa League.
But that shouldn't even be a problem for them. With what I saw from their Europa League match today.
Yeah, and they have a good enough squad.
Good enough squad.
They have depth in the squad.
Thankfully, when Murillo and the likes were, battling with injuries, now all of them seem to be back. And they are having a very...
they are pumped. And now they are 3 points above Spurs. To me, honestly, exactly. I need Nottingham Forest and West Ham to stay up. I mentioned a couple
Charlie said you wanted one of them to go down just for their incompetence.
Spurs will go. But I hate Spurs more. Yes. And Spurs will go. And you know why? I hate Spurs more. So yes, Spurs, goodbye to you, back to not knowing you exist. And please, once you are relegated, please reduce the sale value of Kudus. Reduce that.
Yeah, Kudus will obviously leave. and that Kudus Ghanaian conversation takes us to the Black Stars, where Mohamed Kudus himself may not be available for the Black Stars when it comes to the World Cup.
I don't think he will be available.
Yes, that is if he decides to go under the knife. But if he decides to go without the surgery, then
it's a muscle
just manage it. Yes. So I think if I am him, I'll just go for the surgery as quickly as I can and then get back into it. Now, Ghana's World Cup readiness and challenges with Carlos Queiroz. Kwaku, break down this appointment for us. His experience, track record, and whether he's the best fit for Ghana.
I saw a quote from Carlos Queiroz that
I don't think it's a true quote.
I hope it's not.
Which one?
Hold on 1 second. I'm just pulling it up.
Right.
It's quite shocking. I was like, Chairman, really? This thing? Okay.
But do you think out of it, would you have preferred Slaven Bilic?
Not at all. For the type of appointment, for the short-term contract nature, for what they really wanted, I had no doubt in my mind Carlos Queiroz was the best option amongst the 4 or 5 names that came up. I know that they mentioned that Slaven Bilic, he brought up Modric and the rest of the top Croatian gang guys. He coached Declan Rice at West Ham when he was coming up and all of that, so he knows the English team very well. I still don't think it was enough. What we really need Ghana now, certainly someone like Carlos Queiroz, someone that cannot be manipulated and controlled by the FA, someone who commands authority and discipline whenever he walks into the dressing room, right? And then someone who's a specialist at such tournaments. Slaven Bilic, let's not forget, he's never coached at the World Cup. He's coached at the Euros. Yes, we know that he did very well in 2008 with the Croatian team, and he had a bright future. But unfortunately, he hasn't been the same since his West Ham days. Even at West Brom, it couldn't work out well. Right? So I have no doubt in my mind Carlos Queiroz is the right choice for us.
What makes you think so?
I don't agree with the short-term nature of the contract, though. I honestly think.
Yeah, I was going to that Kweku. We had this conversation and he was like, he wants Carlos Queiroz because we can get him long term. And I was like, if we are going to take a short-term appointment.
That's not what I said. Pause. That's not what I said. I never said that.
What did you say?
What I said was that I don't agree with the short-term approach. It makes no sense. That strategy is wrong. Because Ghana is not a team to win the World Cup. So there's no reason to go for a top coach just for the World Cup. What then do you gain at the end of the day? Right? It would even be a miracle if you qualify out of our group, in my opinion.
Yes, but that's when I...
Do you know why they've gone for the short term?
Tell me.
So now, financial constraints is the reason why certain coaches couldn't get in. The ideal choice they would have wanted was Slaven Bilic because he's younger and he was looking more at the long term, at least 2 years to play in the next AFCON and all that. Now, picking Carlos Queiroz because...
That should be the strategy.
Yes.
So now, if you don't have
Carlos
money
Queiroz,
for Slaven Bilic, then go and find the next Milovan Rajevac or go and find the next Ratume Dukovic and come and build
that is what Ghana did not have time. And especially, most of the coaches know that Ghana is not in a very good place, especially with the quality of talent. But they need a manager with that pedigree, with that class, who has been at major tournaments. And now what they are thinking is, even if Carlos Queiroz is able to get Ghana into the quarterfinals of the World Cup, it means Ghana is going to get a rewarding...
Quarterfinals, you are going too far.
No, wait. Once you get out of
the
group, you get into, a very
round
good...
of 32, round of 16.
32.
Because now we are playing a 48.
Yes.
So
even if you get to 16, you are going to get at least something rewarding, a rewarding sum, which they believe, because now they are not in a good place to be using the taxpayers' money to be getting coaches to pay them 150,000, 100,000. So thinking that when we get to that stage and Ghanaians know that, there was a very good performance, there was, progress, then why don't we use that money to extend this coach who has seen the team and understands and would not have enough backlash? Because from the current administration, they feel that the least they should do is to use taxpayers' money for this venture, and especially when it is, someone will say it is being overpriced. And a number of, people within government, I'm told, hinted them that we have European nations who are performing, have, teams without names who are performing well with coaches who are taking less than even 60, 70,000, 80,000, and even the 100,000. Or even the 50,000 Otado was taken and Kwesi Appiah were taken. But they are performing well, because if you are a coach of Iceland, you won't be given that money. If you're a coach of Georgia, if you're a coach of maybe other countries who have made it, they are not paying extremely much.
But if you're giving Otado 50,000, I won't come and, if I have pedigree, I'm not going to come and tell you that give me less than 50,000.
So that is when, if you have good people who bargain and let the coach know what you want from him and the coach knows his worth. It's more like we've always gone in to compromise on these coaches and all that. So that is what the government wants to do. And especially looking at the age of Carlos Queiroz, he went to Oman. Fine, you may say nobody will pick up Oman or Iran. Even if you give Pep Guardiola Iran and Oman, he will not be able to perform, because the quality of the players in there, yes, it's at an all-time low if you compare it to other nations. You get it? So that is what they are thinking, that yes, at least, even in as much as the quality of our players is bad, we can trust him. If he gets to the quarterfinal, we get some money. Then we invest that money back into the national team.
This quarterfinal,
with
what happened?
No, fine. Even if it's the round of 16, which is
round of 16,
likely
it won't happen. I think our best shot is round of 32. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Well, let's see. So that is the plan. If it doesn't happen, then it means that nobody knows whether there's going to be a change of mind.
Strategy. I think it's an
but it's a very poor strategy, because just after the World Cup, we are getting into the AFCON qualifiers.
There's no strategy.
So this should actually be a base for the coach to know the players, because what I am also thinking, Carlos Queiroz will not have any time with the players until he plays before he plays Mexico. And when he plays Mexico, it's on the 22nd of May, which the season is still in session. Yes, the season is still in session. And the next game is just before or just after he has named the squad, or just before he names his final squad for the World Cup, which means that which players is he going to have time with? And we know that his basic principles are on discipline, teamwork, determination, resilience. And how do you measure all these things, especially with discipline, attitude of your players, if you have not lived with them or you've not encountered them for a couple of days? And that is his only problem. And it's not like we have those talents in 2006. You can close your eyes and say, come on, Michael Essien is playing at top level. Stephen Appiah has played at top level. Suleiman Tari has been at top level. Asamoah Gyan is top. John Pinsel has, a very good team playing in England. John Mensah has been in France. He's been in Italy. This is an all-time low. Imagine coming to the World Cup and the only trusted centre-back you have, Alexander Djiku, and he's not even in the top 7 leagues when it comes to Europe.
Spartak Moscow.
Exactly. And the next person who can fill
on the
in...
decline.
Yes. The next person... No. That boy, yes.
Disaster.
That boy is
How did he get to
Wolfsburg?
Wolfsburg?
Well... We always tell you that when you have good agents, football,
we need to find these
football will always favor his players. You can't tell me that Samba O'Neill is playing at Asante Kotoko and Jonathan Ajete is at Wolfsburg. There's a huge difference in their technical ability. So it's quite a difficult one, unless, and this is a manager I saw at the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. He's very good, but look at the Egyptian players he used. Abdel Monem, strong figure. Hegazi, strong figure. Mohamed El Neni, he's very industrious. Mahmoud.
They're going to bring back.
We don't.
They're going to bring back Andrea.
We don't. And the spine of, you don't even have the spine of the team. And look at the goalkeeping unit. It has Shenawi. Shenawi got injured, and then Gabaski got into the team, and it was phenomenal. Mohamed Salah Trezeguet made sure that they punished teams whenever teams came at them. That quarter-final game against Morocco, that semi-final game against Cameroon, they were built solidly on quality. And these were players where some of them were playing for top clubs, Ali and then Zamalek. But look at even on the local scene. It's not like 2006 or 2010 when some of our players were playing for the top clubs in the country. So it's a very difficult situation. If he manages to get out of even the group stages, I think it will be a bonus. Now we should look at how we are going to keep him at least for the next AFCON, because if I have a coach like this, I can trust that if he has 8 months or 9 months to prepare for the next Africa Cup of Nations, or even a year to prepare for the next Africa Cup of Nations in 2027, he could put together a very good team, a very solid team. And he doesn't care where you come from, because this is a coach that I see he can decide to play Augustine Okra instead of Kamaldeen Sulemana. And he doesn't care. Because he's looking at quality over name.
The problem I see for him is, in as much like it's a short-term appointment, unless some way somehow he has some backroom stuff, or he has scouted some Ghanaian players before, he doesn't have enough time to even watch enough players to be like, okay, even I can bring in someone who is not already in the squad to come and do a job for me. So it's an untenable situation that we have. We just hope that maybe for the pedigree that he has as a coach, some way, somehow, it would have some videos or some people that they've already scouted and are sure that they are good enough and can bring them in the squad, because the defense that we have currently is just not going to work. We need something fresh, something different, because these boys don't have it. And disaster Ajete, the less said, the better.
Kelvin, is the man in Ghana? Because I know when we made the announcement, he wasn't in Ghana.
He's still not here. He's still not here.
Do we know when his initial press conference would be? Has it been announced yet?
No, it hasn't been announced, because now he started work and he has to stay up in Europe trying to look at certain players closely.
Because I think some players, he doesn't even need to look at them closely. He would know Jordan Ayew. He would definitely know.
He knows Ayew. Jordan. He knows.
He'll know like their parties and he will know them.
Yeah,
I think
he does.
I think what he would do, right, Kelvin? I think what if I were Carlos Queiroz, or let me try and get into his mind and think as Carlos Queiroz, and what I think he's going to do would be to, first of all, try to conceive a particular game model in mind. I have 70 days to the World Cup. I have this country that I would say isn't the most talented in their group. So they are, let me put it, categorically, that we are underdogs in our group.
The worst team in the group.
This is how I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
What's there to be diplomatic about? We are the worst team in the group.
So
this is 50-50. Be blunt, man.
We are the worst team in our group. Well, so this is how I want us to play. okay, who do we have? Who are the players that have played in the last 10, 15 games? So he would definitely consult Otoado. I think he would speak to Wilfred Schaefer as well. I know he's been sacked, but they would have technical notes. He would refer to all those technical notes. The video analysts still exist. All our video analysts are still on, they still have contract with the GFA. He would work closely with the GFA analysts. They will send reports to him. He will review all those reports and watch the important clips that he needs to watch. He will definitely watch our last friendly games as well. Because the last friendly games would give an idea into the mind of the pool of talent that the coach, the previous coach, had in mind going into the World Cup.
The coach says he doesn't believe that football is about scoring.
Yeah.
So he would look at all those.
So they want to know you know be a friend national TV.
Oh yeah, I think he gave that interview with that mindset that that's it for him. He's not
Yeah. He should have just kept silent and waited.
No, he's a Palmer kid. Palmer. He's a Palmer kid.
But the point is,
the man doesn't like Palmer. Ket doesn't like Palmer.
No, the point is you are independent. Now,
yeah, but Ket doesn't like Palmer. So far as he's a Palmer kid, he doesn't care.
Otoado is not anymore. Now we have a coach. Now we have a coach whom they will not be able to.
I'm sure the interview was before.
He won't be able to influence in terms of a selection for the World Cup.
So if Perez wants him, then Perez can bring him then.
Yeah. If Perez wants him, he will bring him.
So that's why I feel.
But I'm sure Ket will put somebody like, there are certain players that we think we don't want to call them because of some.
If the man says he wants to take, if the man says he will stop him,
I don't think they can stop him. I think Andrew stands a chance of going to a World Cup, especially with the potential.
It's possible.
He stands a chance, even though I don't want him there. He stands
a potential absence of what's his name, Kudus. I think he would rely a lot on the technical notes that Wilfred Schaefer would leave behind. He would rely a lot on the video analyst report as well. And the video analyst also let him know the deficiencies that they were battling with in the team. And then that's when he'll begin to a few other players. I don't think we would see more than 5 new entrants into the squad. It will be the same old squad, but I don't think we'll see more than 5 new entrants. My only worry is that I hope that he still keeps faith with Benjamin Asare. That's it for me.
Let's wait and see SM for life. But I think that the beneficiaries of his style of play will be Antoine Semenyo, Iñaki Williams, Ernest Nuama. He loved transitional football. If you are forwards like that, and especially someone like Nuama, I would love
do very well.
Yes, I would love to see Nuama in that Kudus number 10 role.
If he
moves the ball better, he's more intelligent.
If he wants to play transitional football, then he can't start Jordan.
Exactly. That's my point.
That I agree.
That's my point. And that is why I'm saying that his style of football will favor Iñaki, Semenyo, Ernest Nuama, and even for Thomas Partey, if he gets the right mix of players like Caleb to be in midfield and then maybe one other workaholic to be in midfield with Partey, it would free him to be able to pick up the passes in channels for some of these guys. And they should be able to do quite a decent job. But, well, Carlos Queiroz, yes, hopefully you do the do. Yes, he has a quick temper too. If you misbehave, he fights with the officials and then we just take his red card coolly and go and sit.
My last words before we wrap up.
Last words,
wrap up. I think next week we'll come here to mourn Arsenal. We'll come here to mourn Arsenal. So we'll put on our black dress, our black cloth.
All right. So you are saying a video edition next week, eh?
Don't worry.
If you guys don't mind.
We'll do it only for the funeral, eh?
Only for the funeral next week.
All right. That wouldn't be bad. Oh, thank you so much, gentlemen. And that's all it. Yes, for every lady and gentleman listening across the world, it's a wrap on another episode of the 50-50 Football Podcast. We came in with opinions and we left with even stronger ones. And if we change your mind on anything today, drop it in the comment section because we genuinely want to know and want you to be a part of this production and this podcast. Well, we gave all the headline takes and we managed to make sure that we were very much straight from source. No apologies to whoever who was hurt because we only said the bare truth. To Mikel Arteta and his team, to Pep Guardiola and his team, any one of you who falls will be on the chopping board. If you've been rocking with us today, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. And wherever you are listening to us, make sure you leave us with a rating and leave us with a review. Only takes less than 30 seconds and it genuinely helps us to find more people on the show. Share this episode with that one friend who thinks they know football and let them hear this, then and also try to argue it out. When you do, you can just post a video of the argument at 5050 Football Pod and across all the socials, and we'll be there to comment and retweet and reshare for you. We read everything. The take could be good. It could be better than ours. And from myself, from Mangana, and from Kweku Safomensa, thank you for spending this time with us. We'll be back next week with more from the 5050 Football Podcast team. Until then, stay sharp, stay passionate, and remember, in football, as in life, it's always 50.